Hello everyone, GL1 here and welcome to my online toy museum. Today I'm going to go over Minicons and I've assembled 71 of them. There might be a couple that I couldn't find, but we're going to go through and I'm going to explain what Minicons are. So Minicons are small transformers that first showed up in Transformers Armada 20 years ago in 2003. And then they were so popular, they continued into Transformers Energon and then Transformers series Cybertron, though not as prevalent as the series kept going on. The first set of Minicons I got was this set here, the Recon team. And I think they're just really cute. You can see they have glass. The Recon team is actually more detailed than a lot of the other Minicons, and that's the Minicon symbol as opposed to an Autobot or Decepticon symbol, which we're all familiar with. And here's another from the Recon team. It's a Porsche, all right, race car. And I've seen this as a Hot Wheels car, and actually these roll quite well. And then we have like a little off-road truck kind of vehicle. All right, and the Minicon symbol there. Now all the Minicons, they were created by Unicron, which is this big orange character here. And Unicron is a planet eater. But he created the Minicons to be little workers. And eventually they rebelled and left, and then they were found by both Autobots and Decepticons. Now they had no idea that there was a battle going on between Autobots and Decepticons, and they were being used by both groups to improve their power, because the Minicons were very powerful and they could have a burst of power and give that. What they would do is they would attach to various places on the Transformers and give them a boost in power. So you can see that here as well. All right. So the Minicon Transformers, they would transform pretty easily from a robot to a vehicle. They didn't have a whole lot of articulation, but you could manipulate them, pull them out in there, and then the head would flip up. So then you would have a little robot here. Now, we don't have time to go through all the different, transforming all of these 71 of these, but you can see there's his little hands, and this one has some knees, and they don't have any lateral articulation in the hips, but it really doesn't matter. So, all right, and that's the brief story on Minicons. And there were several groupings of Minicons that were made. My favorite group was this one here, and we see this is like a military battle group. This is the only one that has a spring-loaded projectile. So this turns into a little robot, of course, and actually his head is in there, and you push that, and then that would launch a gigantic missile. And here's another part of the battle group, and these are pressure missiles, and you'd push on those, you push hard enough and then it kind of shoots out. All right, you can see his head's in there, right? And then this one, kind of like a crane, all right, but more like a heavy missile launcher, all right, and actually has 3 out of 4 wheels that roll on each side. Quite a lot of moving parts on that for such a small robot. Now this circle that I have here, that I have several Minicons stuck to, is actually part of Unicron. So Unicron is the largest transformer that there ever was. He's, he eats planets, so he's not good, and he's not really a Decepticon either. And he turns into a giant planet. So this transformer actually turns into a sphere, and then it has a ring like a Saturn ring that connects to it, and you can connect a bunch of Minicons to it, and they would even be giving their power to Unicron, making him even more dangerous than usual. So the Minicons come in all kinds of batches. One of my favorite Minicons is this jet, which is a lot like an SR-71 Blackbird. And I like this one a lot, but it was delicate. And this little piece here, they crack. Again, the dry rot, the plastic dry rots and cracks. And I had to glue that back together. But I just keep it mostly as a jet and put a little band around to keep it that way. And it came with a couple of other flying warplanes. So you have a big, like a transport plane. And you can see the hands there. And then, let's see where I think that, yeah, that turns around. So you move these arms out of the way. Flip that. And there's his head. And there's his... And you can move it like that, and then he's got his arms there, or just has his arms there, and then there's the little knees. So that's, you see, and that's a little robot. And then you have a stealth fighter version. Right, kind of looks like a chicken, right? Big beak. And there's another stealth fighter one that's a different design. If I can find that quick enough here. Ah, yeah. So this one here. So it's different, but it's also like a stealth fighter. So you can see now this one, the legs are going to fold out like that. This is going to fold down. You know, got to try to tuck that in there. There you go. All right, and then blasters on the arms. So you know, you can get all kinds of different robots out of these. Now, on the ring over here, I have some cool transformers. This is like the Sea Battle group, and all of those have pressure missiles. So you have like a speedboat, and you have like a hoverboat, like a hovercraft. So an amphibious boat actually can go up on land too. So it has propellers in the back. And then you have this one here. Kind of has like solar panels on it. I don't know what kind of boat that's supposed to be. But, all right. And then you have here, this is a Decepticon, but it's also a Minicon. And usually they don't have any symbols on, you know, other than the Minicon symbol. But this is like a monster truck. So I might transform that one later. All right, and here's a Jeep. But yeah, I'll pause and transform that. That one might be complicated to transform. Here's another Jeep, and this one has a tow line. So you have a little hook, tow line, and then you can roll that up. You can see his little head there and his arms. Kind of get an idea of how he's going to look. See, and then the legs, a lot of them transform very similarly. Legs just fold out real simple like that. And nice off-road tires, right? And actually metal stops there. And then here it is in green, same one. Okay. So that little rubber wheel actually is on these few right here, these 5. So they all have that feature where when you roll them, they have a rubber wheel underneath. You roll it, and then that makes the gun move. So how about that? And these were all, usually you'd get 3 of them for about $6.99. So that one is just clampy, right? Like a clampy robot thing, right? And you can see there's the robot head and then the arms. Real simple. You just kind of pull those legs out and there, and then he stands up. Robot. And then look, this one's got a big, it's like a snowmobile, right? And then, but it's got like big grasping kind of claws, although they don't really go all the way together. But they're supposed to move a little bit. Very little bit. All right, now here's another tank, couple tanks. Well, they're actually the same one, they're just different colors. So, and this one, it does like a recoil. So when you move that wheel, it recoils. All right. Now these two came with the large Optimus Prime that I'm not going to picture in this video. You can actually look at my Optimus Prime self-transforming video, which I don't know, maybe 30 episodes ago. But this one goes to the special edition one, which was special colors, and this is the usual one that came with the Optimus Prime from Armada. Now I have another, there was a smaller Armada Optimus Prime. Okay, and this one I put with the Star Saber. So you could buy a package of 3 jets. Okay, so you have like the Concorde, and then, you know, some other kind of like high-speed jet, and then there's like a stealth bomber here, and you could fit all those together and they would become the Star Saber. I never got the third one in the yellow clear color, because actually to really be the Star Saber there's supposed to be this yellow, this clear, and I have 2 out of 3 of them, but I did have all 3 in the solid. And so I just have to pretend. But this Optimus came with its own battle jet. Okay, and this has a special feature. So oftentimes the Minicons, they would push in, you see how there's a little divot inside and there's an input in there. So the Minicon oftentimes wouldn't just stick to the transformer, but what it would do was activate a feature. So by depressing that in, you could then, it would have like some kind of feature, like something might pop up. And actually you can see that in that video that I just mentioned. Let me look up the number for you. So episode 191 shows you all the different ways that the Armada Optimus Prime can be transformed. It self-transforms. You can add all kinds of different features to it, like a jet fire. It's really a fantastic toy line, or just sort of toy line within itself, actually. It's like a line within the line of Armada Transformers. So this one also was on there. So you move that up and down and it gives it a special feature. And some of the larger Optimus Primes, when you put the Minicon on, it would make like a like a gun pop out and become available. So I also wanted to show you some of the other Minicons that come especially with a particular transformer. Now, one of my favorite transformers, which to me supersedes all the lines of transformers, because it's Vector Prime. And Vector Prime is a time traveler, so he can travel, in my mind, to all the different storylines of Transformers. And what's great about him, too, is that he's so well made, and the colors and the details, that I think it really integrates well, really, with the quality of all the other Transformers. And feature-wise, it's just fantastic. So it's a really good, heavy, hard plastic, and then it's got these clear pieces here. And, you know, this is 20 years old, so I've really worked hard to try to take care of this. The sword is a little bent, but that's okay. You just put it in warm water, it'll go back to shape. But this one, Vector Prime, came with his own Minicon. Now, Vector Prime came from a time period when there was no warring Autobots and Transformers, and he was tricked by Megatron to give the cyber key to Megatron, which created a bunch of problems. And then he realized that there was this war and that the Decepticons were, well, deceptive. And so he started helping out the Autobots more. But this is his Minicon, and, you know, it turns from a jet to a gun, and you can see his head in there, and, you know, his little legs are going to come out. You can see how they're going to fold out. but that can go on his arm as a blaster. And he also makes sounds. So he has the most unique cyber key. And you can see it's got like, you know, this sort of like the same opening to Pacific Rim, Gypsy Danger, which also is featured in a video like 30 videos ago. And it has another feature where when you move the arm, it does its sort of space slicing sound. So that's what it sounds like to strike a sword from space, okay? And you can see, you know, he's got like these sort of, you know, his face has like computer grid stuff on it and it's all over him, you know, stuff like that. And it even fires a missile out of the nose. So you just push that button down and then fires the missile. So, and it's a real easy transformer to transform into a spaceship too. You can just kind of, so you can get, and you could fold the legs under, but you can kind of get the idea that, you know, it's going to look like a spaceship like that. You turn his head around backwards, and then these can move in different positions, kind of like a TIE fighter, which I'm going to be doing a TIE fighter episode soon, because I have a lot of different TIE fighters that I'd like to show you. So another transformer that, well, many of the transformers from Armada, or I think all of them from Armada, came with a Minicon, but some of them are real specific to the particular transformer. So this is Tidal Wave, which turns into a big aircraft carrier, and just really great features on it. And it has this jet, and the jet can lower, you can push that down, and then it closes like that. Okay, so then it's sort of like an aircraft carrier launching pad, right? Well, it has a lever here. You can push that up. Oop. Okay, I'm just too powerful. And it flung off there. All right, so you get this little jet, and it's a really tiny little Minicon. And then it just folds down into this little jet, right? Like, but he also can turn into robot. So there he is in robot mode. Okay, it doesn't have the feet just fold out like that, and it doesn't, the legs don't separate or anything, but he's, you know, just a little robot. All right, but then he can, you know, turns into a jet. These fold underneath. And there he is. It's like a jet. Okay. All right. Well, we're not done having fun with that, because not only can the jet, you know, you could see from Tidal Wave, you can stick a whole bunch of Minicons on him, but also you can take the jet, and here's one of the special features, and you push it, you see the red divot there? Push that on, and then when you move it forward, it makes it like the guns, you know, are firing all over the place. Okay, so this is a really cool transformer too. There's just so many. These fold down into chairs. So let me show you that. So, all right, so this flips up, and then those fold down into chairs, and then you can put other Minicons. They can just sit there, but then you can also just stick Minicons all over. And it also has missiles that will fire that, I think I put them in a little bag so I don't lose them. All right, so that's Tidal Wave's Minicon. Here's another Minicon. So here's a motorcycle Minicon, right? All right, and let's see what that turns into. I haven't transformed this one in a long time. Some of them are kind of, they don't look that great when they transform, and this is probably one of them. Just, oh no. All right, well, that's what plastics glue is for. All right, so that broke. See, there's a ball joint there, but again, what happens is these things get older, the plastic gets older, and then when you try to manipulate them, they break. Oh, the head is probably here. All right, so there's the head, and there's the feet, and here's the broken arm. Okay, well, we're live, and bad stuff happens. But this car here, okay, Treadshot Decepticon, has a Minicon, right, motorcycle that attaches inside here. So it rides around, push that button, and then it flips out, and then you have a Minicon, and that also transforms into a robot. Okay. All right, and then I have some other military ones here. So here's a little tank. Okay. And also looks like some of them are triple transformers. And I think this one might be one of those. So let's see. So it looks like it transforms into another kind of vehicle like this. And these also become legs. There's his head, and there's his arms. Okay, so this is another tank here, and this one's really nice. Again, this is one of those rare ones that has the actual Decepticon symbol on it, but it is a Minicon, and it looks just like a toy tank. It's pretty cool. And yep, the wheels even roll. So nice detail. You know, a lot of things now you wouldn't get real wheels that roll. And then here's another vehicle. This looks like something that is a missile launcher, but also might be for boring into caverns. It has, you know, the kind of wheels that look like that's what it does. And then we have a submarine Minicon there. Let's see what that transforms like. I have to be careful. Okay. Ah, there he is. There's the head. Okay. The feet. And there's the arms. Big old arms. All right. And then we have, this goes to Demolisher, which is a specific Decepticon transformer, and its Minicon actually looks a lot like him. And then the guns can go off to the side and shoot that way too. And this is a triple changer. This is a rescue vehicle, but it also turns into a robot, of course, but it also opens up into a rocket launcher. So you can take this and you can fit it onto the shoulders of Optimus Prime. You stick it on there. It has two of them. Stick it on like that, and then it becomes a rocket launcher, as well as it can become a robot. So let's see, there's its robot legs. And see, there's his head in there, robot legs, and his arms. Okay. Then we have, this is a couple of specific ones. So this is like a lunar robot Minicon. And this goes to Metroplex, the old Metroplex, not the big 2-foot one, but the Metroplex from, I think it actually might be Energon. And this goes to Mentosaur, which is kind of his nemesis. And you can see the Minicon connector is actually right on the end there. And it has another one inside. But I like this because it has the two-tone plastic. You know, you have the clear plastic in there. And then look, you even have clear radar dish that looks up. So pretty neat feature. All right, and then back to our circle, we have a police car that looks like the same police car in the Transformers movie. The name escapes me at the moment, but maybe you remember. But they're in Minicon form, pretty much. Even the details, right? You can see they wrote that really small. And then you have these three cars, and I remember buying this little set because they're really nice. They really look like little Hot Wheels cars, and they roll pretty well too. So they have, pretty good ground clearance, and you can see they all turn into Minicon robots. And I think that's like a Ferrari Testarossa, and this looks like kind of like a Porsche 911, but nah, maybe more like a Mercedes. Yeah, I think a Mercedes. And then this one, oh, that's a Cadillac CTS. You can see those lights. Yeah. All right. And then we have a bunch of helicopters, as you can see here in the back. So this one, I think the yellow one is just a yellow version, pretty much, of that red one there. And look, you have the dual helicopter, the dual rotor. What's cool about the dual rotor helicopter is it also can become like a laser, dual laser, and you can put that on the shoulders also of Optimus, and you could put it in the, give it to other Transformers as well, but it makes a good, like, rotating laser weapon. So you stick those like that, and then you can peg it right there, because Optimus has these shoulder pegs, and stick that on, and then it becomes, like a rotating laser like that. And then you have, let's see, these other helicopters. All right, so I think that's like a Blackbird. And this looks more like one of those aquatic landing helicopters. And you can see how they're gonna open up, and that's gonna be the legs. And then there he goes. So, robot mode. And here's another helicopter, right? Oh, you can see him right there. And that's going to unfold pretty easily. Right, just like that. But it's not going to, okay, so it doesn't, the legs don't separate. Okay. And, all right, so, oh, we saw that. So here's a bomber, and it has those pressure missiles. Okay. You can see the feet there. See how we can get that. Well, his head's over there, so we got to see how that might lift around. You know what? I don't want to force anything right now. I'd have to investigate how that, take my time on that. I don't want to break another one. All right, so here's another, look at all those bombs. So it's a bomber. You could see that that separates up here. And wonder where the head is on this one, huh? I don't know. Oh, it's upside down. Okay, so there's the head. And so somehow this becomes the legs like that, maybe. Just kind of balances like that, like an X-wing. All right, well, here's something really different. So Minicons can also be animals. So here we have like a big eagle, and you can see there's the head, right? And there's the attachments, and I believe, oh, this flips down, if I remember correctly. You know what? I'm afraid to break any of these. All right, hang on. I'm going to pause that. Okay, so here it is in robot mode. All right. So there's the arms. All right. And even a T-Rex. You know it's a T-Rex because it only has 2 fingers. All right. So that opens up. And it transforms like the Megatron T-Rex. Even looks like him. And I guess you could pretend it is him. And then I think Slug is the name of the Triceratops. So Triceratops Minicon. And the same one, just different colors. Pterodactyl. See, there's the robot head there. And we have a saber-toothed tiger. Kind of beefy looking. Let's see, I haven't transformed this in a long time. Now, some of them come apart easily, which is okay. They give them these ball joints so that they fall apart and don't break, but sometimes they break on the more delicate pieces. All right, so that's what that looks like. I guess he, instead of hands, he just kicks and then bites. And then you have a wolf. Decepticon. Now, let's see, but it is a Minicon as well. And if you remember, there is a Decepticon that is a wolf. That's a black wolf. So I guess you turn that around. Yeah. Like that. All right. And even a dragon. And I think the mouth, does the mouth open? Yeah, it opens that way. Okay, so a ball joint just comes off easily. And, I think there's the head under there. So let's see how that goes. Well, I'm not sure how he is supposed to, he swings. It's like the Megatron. I think it probably turns. Yeah, like that. I think it just actually probably goes the other way. You know, also the materials, which plastics they use, can determine how easily they break or not. Okay, I got this now. So he goes like that, and then he sits up, and then there. All right. Then he's got an arm. So he's got like a whip arm and a dragon head arm. Okay. And he can dance. All right, and this is Optimus Cybertron. And like I had said earlier, they did continue the Minicons into the Cybertron era, but there is no place to attach a Minicon onto the Optimus Prime from Cybertron. So, although I guess if you really wanted to, you could put a Minicon there, but those really aren't for that. They're really just for holding the legs together when you're putting it into truck mode. All right, and last, well, not last, no. All right, actually, this is Energon, well, one of the Energon Optimus Primes. And there's a bigger one, and has different legs and everything, but this is kind of an odd thing because they did power links in Energon. So the Transformers would link with other Transformers as well as have Minicon attachments. So, this is a drilling one. And this has the rubber wheel, and as you turn the wheel, I forgot to show you this one. You turn the wheel underneath, there. The drill sometimes moves. Okay, so you could take that and put that onto Optimus, and then he would become more powerful. Okay, so that arm would, the lasers might shoot harder. Okay, so you could see that's so went Armada, which is this Optimus Prime, where you could stick on the big Armada tons of Minicons, and then they went Energon, and you could put on some Minicons, and then they went Optimus Cybertron, where at least on the Optimus you couldn't put any on. Well, all right, the last one is the Unicron, and the Unicron has his own Minicon. So I'm going to do an episode on Unicron and giant robots too eventually. This one, see his hand lights up. He's got individual fingers. This was only $50 at the time when this came out, like 20 years ago. And it's got a big gigantic missile in there. I might as well show you. So this Minicon, this is the little Minicon sphere. So you could think this is like a moon, okay? And it's a little robot, and it attaches on the ankle here. And you see it has a divot in there. So when you put this Minicon on here and squeeze it in and you push that Minicon forward, it's going to launch these 3 missiles, okay? So that's what that special feature would do. And also, there's a divot on the back, okay? And if you stick it here, I think it's going to work. You stick that on. Let's try to get this. Try to get these angles right. And what's going to happen? So his eyes light up too. So what happened is his chest opens up. It shoots a gigantic missile, like the largest missile, because of the Minicon activation. And let me get that missile and show you, because it's pretty neat. Now there's a Unicron that is $1,400. And it's big. It's bigger than this. It's like twice as tall. But it doesn't have as many features. So, I don't know. You know, this one's really cool. And I could tell you a little story about this Unicron. So, look, there's the big missile. So, when this Unicron came out, yeah, like probably around 20 years ago. Yeah, so 2003, just like everything else. I bought one of the early ones. Like as soon as they came out, I went and I got one. And they went and they brought one to my son's daycare. The Hasbro was testing out to see how kids would enjoy and play with it and whether they could transform it. Well, no one could. Everyone there was, you know, disappointed. All the kids wanted to play with it and nobody could transform it. And then I came to pick up my son. And they're like, and my son's like, oh, my dad has one. He can do it. And so I transformed this into a planet and back to a robot. And there was all the teachers and kids who were just standing around in awe of me being able to transform it because it's not easy to transform. So a cool toy for me, but really not able to be played with little kids. And I know from that secondhand store that I mentioned many times where I've gotten a lot of things from, there were a lot of broken or Unicrons missing pieces because a lot of people bought them and a lot of people couldn't really do a lot with them. They're pretty complicated. And I have, I'm not going to show it today, a special edition version of this, which is very rare. So that now that I said it, I'm going to have to be showing you probably sometime within 10 episodes. So, all right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this Minicon excursion. And it was great to show you. And it was also great to gather them all together, all in one place, so I don't lose them. All right. So now I got to fix that broken one. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you soon.